with a very informative session. My name is Lachlan Kitchen, I'm your MC and moderator for today. And today and obviously tomorrow, it's a great opportunity, as we know, for parents to really learn more about the education system in the UAE, which as a result of many factors, including technology, is rapidly changing. Later on today, we're going to be on stage. We're going to have a panel discussion about choosing the right school for your child. And then at 3:30 this afternoon, focusing specifically on innovations in early childhood education. But we start off today with a great panel. For the next 45 minutes or so, we're going to be discussing why for learning, why driving student engagement is key with creative technology. As we know, technology today can be highly beneficial in enhancing the study environment for students. From interactive educational apps to virtual reality simulations and gamified learning programs, today's technology offers a myriad of opportunities to spark curiosity, foster collaboration, and also deeper understanding. Access to a variety of technology and the internet is not only accessible, but for many students and teachers, necessary. And overall, increasing student engagement using technology can be beneficial to both students and also their educators. Students' academic performances can improve and educators can also be more productive in the process. So during this exclusive discussion this afternoon, we've got educators from the UAE's top schools who will be sharing their thoughts on making the best use of technology in driving education in the classrooms. We welcome our speakers, the Principal of Ignite Schools, Dr. Jihan Fradi. Round of applause, please. The Principal of the American School of Creative Science from Mahalia Road, Majid Hussain. Thank you very much. And also Jasmine Kane, the Principal of the Glendale International School. Thank you very much for your time. Doctor, to you first, just being closest to me. Opening things up, we'll get that. Gordon always likes to check the microphones here. Do your work, Gordon. Doctor, the question I have for you, how do digital education tools enhance students' engagement and also their motivation in the classroom?
All right, thank you for the question. One of the things that we are currently doing at Ignite is we're really trying to promote technology use. And I know it's a little bit difficult now with ChatGPT, but we don't even hinder that. Like, we actually promote it. And so instead of telling them, we do have to turn it in, which is a plagiarism checker, but instead of telling them don't use ChatGPT, we go the opposite direction. We want them to use ChatGPT because we can't stop technology from advancing. But what we ask them to do is, for example, telling them, if you were to counteract an argument against ChatGPT, what would that look like? So it's one of the ways for us to promote critical thinking, problem solving, and research. We've kind of gone away from kind of showing that, when you talk about research, Googling things is actually not research. So, copying definitions from Google is not research. So we're trying to have them at a point now where they need to generate their own questions and try to solve it themselves. And we tell them to use whatever source that they come across.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Majid, further to that, if we understand that technology is an integral part of education, what is the best practice for using technology in the classroom?
Well, you know what? Most of the kids, they are the ones who are teaching their teachers nowadays how to use technology. They're not waiting for their teachers to really help them there. They're the ones who know more, and you see them, since our schools are all fully equipped with the Promethean panels, and you see that the students are the ones who are supporting and helping their teachers using them. Now, we are an Apple school, so our students, they use application in most of the work that they do between them and their teachers. So all of their work is presented to their teachers through the apps. Students are communicating with their teachers electronically, even though they are in the same classroom. But the teacher have access to their devices to see their work and how their work is going. The students can present from their seat and project to the board to show how they worked on resolving some of the problems. So that is one of the ways that we promote technology use.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic situation where you've got apps that students are working on. We'll just get someone, speaking of technology, to work on on your microphone, so we'll come back to you so you're ready for your next question, Majid. Jasmine, you're the principal of the Glendale International School. We've already heard some initial points about the need for technology, and sometimes there's the need for students to also co-work with the teachers. But what technology specifically can support the differentiation to assist students who learn at different levels? So we've got apps, but they're not, as we know, all kids, they all learn at different levels. How is technology helping that?
Thank you. I think one of the things that is so vital is, it helps the teachers with differentiation. So we're looking at different tools that are available at the moment. I don't want to name particular ones, but there are specific resources out there that once you give an opportunity for children to state the learning objective, they're able to then use the technology to then implement what's going to happen next for that child's learning journey. I think it's so vitally important with the use of technology. Teachers are always talking about differentiation and how to make sure we're challenging all the students, but there's certain apps now that once you are giving them a guiding start in their learning, it then channels that learning journey further through AI and through other activities without teachers having to do much. It's actually so clever now to be able to have that resource available that wasn't available to us as teachers. I think that the teaching profession has been enhanced so much by these resources that once you have a starting point, that's able to be then carried through the technology that's available, which I think is really exciting.
Do you think there's maybe some envy between some of the teachers that they don't have these technological opportunities to assist?
I think now Dubai is an amazing place where we have all those opportunities open to us. I mean, as a new school, I had so many different technology vendors coming to me and promoting how many different resources there are out there. There was so much choice. And I think it's making the right decision for the school. Obviously, we're a British curriculum school, so we're particularly how we can enhance the British curriculum and enrich the British curriculum. And as I said, there's so much choice available out there.
Doctor, with so much choice available, one of the challenges I think for schools and teachers and also parents is trying to find the right balance between traditional learning and also using technology. How are you doing that? What are the strategies that you're implementing to keep that balance there?
Sure, I agree with you. I mean, you're absolutely right. There's so many tools out there, and it's not about the type of resources you have, it's how you actually utilize them within the schools. We are an American school, and one of the things that we are using, we do our math testing, and one of the programs that we use is IXL, and I'm sure the majority of schools have heard that. And it kind of cross-references in terms of differentiation. What we do with that is we take their scores, their external assessment scores, add it to the system, and it generates questions and text and all that, so it's automatically differentiated for the students. And you're right, there's so many out there, we just happen to choose that, and that's what works for us.
Has there been, and this is sort of a question to the three of you, has there been a cohesive model between schools to try and work together to use technology, or are schools and different curriculums working independently to try and find a better relationship between technology and traditional teaching?
I think there's a good network within Dubai with principals and leaders who discuss these really important things in terms of IT. And I think it's about collaboration and actually saying, is this really useful for the British curriculum or the American curriculum? So it's about collaboration, I think. I think that leads to success in different curricula.
I can see, Majid, you might have a different view.
It's not a different, I don't know if this is working or not, right? Yes, my voice is good
Yeah, your
enough.
voice is good enough anyway. It's a teaching experience.
I'm a principal of a large school, right? So I don't think what you're asking for is that the collaboration, like has it been any software or any program where schools can collaborate and work together? I wish, as we can see, for example, on the NWEA platform, that we can see externally in the US, how can we rate our students' level according to American level. I wish we can see in Dubai schools, for example, if we can see math testing results on the application, on the platform, so this way I can see my students' level compared to the region I am in. It's not there, because we're still competitive when it comes to private schooling. So, but it would help a great deal, because we also, when we do inspection, we tend to work together, well, in isolation to achieve certain rating. But if we were to know how were our schools in the region, doing, and how did they achieve that, then we can all rise together.
Anyone agree or disagree with that sentiment?
Agreed, and I think the government is working towards that, particularly with the local authorities, like whether it's SPIA in Sharjah, ADIC in Abu Dhabi, KHDA, they try to get the schools together to
I
collaborate.
think in terms of that collaboration, I think it's more recommendations, what we're talking about, obviously if you have a network of principals that you can say, we've got this resource in your school, how is it useful? So one particular, IT resource I was considering, and the other principal in the school said, actually wait, this is actually another one I can recommend to you. So I think it's having that recommendations from other leaders that helps support you. But yeah, definitely collaboration. Obviously there's a little bit of there obviously is competition between schools, but I think when we had a meeting up in KHDA recently, I don't know whether you attended that, so it was all to do with feedback from principals about what's working well and what's not. And I think we're lucky enough in the region that we have that support from KHDA.
Well, what about the challenge? I guess a lot of parents often have this point of view. We understand technology is a necessity, it's a great advantage, it's a tool, but what about the challenge for teachers to minimise distractions? It's probably a question parents pose more than others. Starting with you, Dr. at Ignite Schools, how are you looking at trying to minimise the distractions that technology can have for students?
Yeah, one of the things is we definitely promote technology, so we don't want to completely take it away from lessons. One of the things that we are working on at the moment is having learning stations across the board, not just in kindergarten. And one of the stations would be just focused on technology. So instead of completely eliminating it, we give an opportunity there. In terms of distractions, we do have a BYOD policy where students bring in their own device, but everything is monitored. We got firewalls in place so they can't be on social media. We have Google Classrooms where they post their work up on there. So that's kind of how we're able to manage that.
I think it's important to say that it's not taking over the curriculum as well. Parents always ask that question, what percentage of time are our children on devices in the classroom? They don't want them to be on there all the time. And I think we have to make sure that we're clear on it's an enhancement tool. Whenever we can do things in a traditional way, we will continue doing that, especially in FS, where we're trying to promote English and maths and verbal communication. I'm not a huge fan of having FS using iPads, for example. I think that's way too early. So I think it's having that communication with your parents on the fact that it's an enhancement tool rather than taking over their curriculum.
I think it's all about the balance between the use of technology and the use of the actual resource as the book and the notebook. This way, because in the end, you have your customers who are the parents, who are using this again, technology. But,
Gotta have a plan B.
yeah, my voice, right?
Yeah.
So, the balance between the two is the challenge for me, because I still have those parents that would like to see their kids using the pen and paper, because they feel somehow that their motor skills are important. So when you do as a school, that's the challenge for you, is the balance between the two. There's another challenge that when we are talking about firewall or in my case, it's MDN that protects the device and controls the device during the school day, you see the parents sending with the child another device for them if they would like to play during the school day. So as much as you do, or with the older kids sending with them a VPN so they can break the wall, the school wall. So that is a challenge.
There's always an older brother or an older sister that helps you break the system.
That is a challenge,
That's very funny. You mentioned that you're an Apple school, but I want to know, and again I open this up to the three of you, technology is moving so fast. How as a school, if you make a significant investment in hardware or software, but in 12 months there's an update or a change, how do you combat a challenge like that? Of just the rapid change in technology?
I think we promoted. I don't think we tried to.
Well, just in terms of whether your technology may be out of date, or maybe it may, what you might bring in a certain technology to the school or the curriculum, but then you realise that there needs to be an update or it's out of phase.
I I think we just need to adapt. It's a matter of adapting, but it's not just us, the world is adapting to the change. And it goes the
But
same with
it's a
students.
legit thing. What you're trying to ask us right now, how do we adapt, right? Because in the end, we are principals of school and we do not control the budget. We are part of the budget. But really, to be able to do it, we have to go through massive change in all of the school devices, from, for example, interactive whiteboard to Promethean panels, and that came with a huge cost, of course. So I would say every 5 years, when it comes to technology or devices that you have in the school, you have to look at what is available and you would change. So if the school was a large school, then the cost would be huge. If the school was smaller school, it would be at a different scale.
Well, when it comes to technology, which piece of technology do you think has been the most influential? Is there an app, or is there a piece of hardware, or has there been something that has been and brought about the biggest change to curriculum?
I mean, COVID was a huge change because
So the
that kind
Zoom
of was like
learning.
an overnight shift from, like, everybody got on Teams and Google Classrooms and Seesaw and all of that. So that was kind of a change itself.
I agree with you, and that's actually helped them now, though.
Yeah,
So then if that happens again, we still have our rain days
Yeah.
where the school has to close. We have to revert back to that, and teachers feel very confident now with the online learning process, and parents are actually very much part of the classroom. So that actually made parents happy in that way. Obviously,
It might have made them happy, but I know from experience some teachers didn't like that parents were in the background going, I don't think that's right.
that was an added pressure to teachers. It was a pressure time. But the fact that they were able to adapt, I mean, we had a lot of adaptations of, modifications we had to do in that time. Also, children wearing masks and going through all of that upheaval just shows how resilient the teachers are as well as the children. So it was a very challenging time, but we got a lot of learning from it. I just said, from challenge comes learning,
And those are the apps that became famous at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to mention one thing about my school, obviously I don't have the challenge of, if you have an old school where you're rechanging, different whiteboards and things that are coming up to date. Because I'm a part of a new school, we haven't had that problem. So it is looking at what's available right now, what's the up-and-coming resources, and we have something called our immersion lab, where we have floor-to-ceiling immersion classroom space, which has been changing, curriculum changing for us. And I think you're lucky as a new school because you have, again, all those new resources available to you. So I want to highlight that as something for us.
As one of the difficult, one of the great challenges that has certainly come from that. I want to know how classrooms are changing. You mentioned the screens. Has there been a move towards headsets, VR headsets? Has this come into the classroom yet? We've seen the Apple Pro, Meta have got the Quest headset. Has this been used at all, or is this only being trialled at the moment before it becomes more mainstream?
So I mentioned the immersion lab in our class, in our school. That we do have VR headsets as part of that zone. So we've got created kind of STEAM room as well as the DT lab and an immersion room. And part of the immersion room is having access to the VR headsets. And again, an enhancement tool, right? So it's part of being immersed in the curriculum, cross-curricular environment for all the children. Any subject can be promoted in that way, but again, it's not to take over. We are part of having gamification as part of the curriculum. I'd rather I've got 2 boys myself, having that gamification in the curriculum rather than at home. And I think that is, obviously going to be, as we're moving towards that sort of time, that children are so involved in games and online games that if you can bring it into the curriculum, it's only going to be an advantage.
What about the issue, and again, this probably comes because most of the people here are parents that are looking at how technology is changing. Everyone recognises that technology has a hugely positive impact, but is it detracting from the communication skills amongst students? Are you seeing over time that, and they may be changing, I'm not going to say communication skills are dropping off, but are you seeing a change in the way students communicate?
Kind of go back to COVID a little bit, in terms of social interactions. And it's funny that you say that. My brother is actually a psychiatrist, so is his wife in the States. And after COVID, the biggest patients that they had were actually adolescents because they were gone for so long, kind of behind the screen. And then when they got back to class, that kind of was an issue. But it didn't seem like it was a big thing in Dubai, I felt.
I think more in FS, in the FS cohort that year, even now you see the kind of detrimental effect it had on the children not being able to have that play environment because they missed out on that whole year of learning. And it definitely affected their, kind of levels when they came into year one. And hence why a lot of schools continue the kind of FS curriculum in year one because they missed out on that. That, that is all about early years learning. It's just talking and having that opportunity to discuss their learning with each other. On the other hand, now even when we are using iPads, children are able to communicate and discuss things. So it's not like we have every single child on a device. We might have a device in a group. So we're always conscious of ensuring that we are having that opportunity to have different skills of reading, writing and discussion. Speaking and listening, speaking and learning, we cannot take that out of the curriculum. So using the iPads alongside that I think is crucial.
Imagine you just want to speak, yes?
I want to say that the communication was affected positively by using the technology because they have different ways to communicate right now. So kids right now, I get emails from students more than I get emails from staff. Because they feel they can speak to us, all of us. So they can speak to their teacher using sending them an email. They can send an email to the principal to ask for something. So they send an email to their parents to tell them that I did not like the sandwich, or whatever. So what I'm trying to say is that communication is at its best. It's different from the communication that we think about when we talk about communication. Now, has it affected them when they sit together? Can they talk to each other? I think it is different because they speak to each other in different ways. They probably now have new vocabulary that is connected with some emojis that they have, but I think they communicate at its best communication in a different way.
Doctor, you look like you want to add something?
No.
Oh, okay, because I was going to think you were going to throw me LOL or YOLO just to kind of make it
I was
more relevant.
talking about emojis, because I'm like, I need to teach us the new lingo. Yeah.
I don't understand what you're saying because it is, initial letters that are being used, like IDK, but I don't know, and things like this. And you think, how is the conversation developing? And it is, we have to keep up with them now.
We are going to open it up if anyone does have a question at all. This is a great opportunity to speak to three of the leaders within the industry here. So if you do have any questions, Gordon is generally running around to get a microphone to one of you. What about the impact that technology has had on homework and the ability to absorb content at home? If you've got these great pieces of technology like you've introduced in the classroom at the Glendale International School, how then does it get back to being harder? Is it changing how classroom and homework is done, or is it just a continuation of the technology that you've got in the classroom?
I know from the parents that I talk to, they don't want all the homework to be online. So they said that quite open to me, and that was something that was, and again, something that I totally agree with as a parent. I think about, when my son went to school, and it was online, and I had no understanding of whether he had done that correctly. I had no communication from that. Homework that was shared to say, where is my child at level-wise? So I think parents really want, there is a part to play for online homework, but also physical hard copy homework is we give out in our school every week. So we don't want to lose the skill of writing and allowing the children to have the opportunity to do some sort of journal writing every week. But as well, alongside with online learning, particularly in maths, that works better. But at the same time, if parents want to help their child, they find that difficult. They don't have an example or something to show them that is physical. I think that's important. I think, our methods of learning maths are very different to what we're teaching now. And that's most complaints that come to me are about math strategies. You're using all these different strategies and we don't know how to help our child. And online isn't helping that. So I think in that way, we can use those tools more effectively. Having said that, we have an online platform to say, here's an example video of how you do it, right? You can use it.
I also think maths is also one of the more challenging subjects for parents to help their kids with anyway, before or after our technology. On a personal note, I remember when I was in year 4, there was nothing more exciting than getting my pen licence, right? So you've still got to remember that we still need to read and write and get away from technology. Which subject do you think has been has received the most benefit through technology? Are there specific subjects that the developments in technology are assisting more than others?
I think science in our school, sorry, I'm taking the other one. I'll say science, because there is so much opportunity for showing experiments now without having the resources to hand, you can do it online. But a lot of quizzes can be generated from that. Maths is also, again, where you can see the method being taught and you can follow the steps. So I think for maths and science more so, I would say.
Yeah, definitely with the online simulations for science. Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's magic,
It
yes.
depends, if you're asking about the resources available for students, but if you want to ask about the use of technology in teaching the subject, I cannot decide on the subject because all of them are going to use what is available for their own subject. But in terms of available resources, external resources for teachers, probably English, math, science, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but then I have seen some amazing Arabic classes, for example, and the teacher was using technology 100% in whatever she was doing, because it's an Apple classroom again, in the end. So where students are doing whatever they're doing on their iPad and they can project and then they can share and they can present. So all of that is using technology in whatever subject.
Any questions from anyone at this stage? Any questions is a great opportunity for anyone. We've got two here, so we'll go. We'll get ladies first. Gordon, we've got a question down the front here. We'll see if Majid's microphone works. And you could, on the aisle, please, put your hand up. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's very informative and different experiences. It's very interesting to hear from them. I'm actually from a ninth school. Just two questions for Mary. In terms of technology, are you thinking of trying parents in terms of being technology literature, basically getting to know how technology works with new kids in the new generation, basically? How do you think that education sectors can keep on training parents learn the new technology that is in use in education sectors such as schools and universities? Now we concentrate on school. So that's one question. And
So the question
We have monthly How to IT session. It's what we call How to IT, and it's for parents. And then parents come in, and then we have both. Whether you have the IT person there or vice principal, you just go through the different programs that you're using.
So I think it's keeping parents updated. We want to know what's happening in schools, so parent workshops. Obviously, when new parents come and join us, we always showcase the IT learning that's happening in classrooms. There has to be that partnership with the school and parents continuously about changes.
You already mentioned something earlier when we talked about having videos for parents to show them how to do things. So if they were available to raise the awareness for parents in terms of how to reach for the resources on the platform, and you make the video with them how in Arabic and in English, then you help and you support the parent.
The tutorials.
Yeah, I would say the use of AI now, you can translate that into any subject. Teachers are using AI so well now for formulating their objectives. We have a lot of children joining us from Russia, and now teachers are for daily lessons, just coming up with objectives in their language, which supports their learning so much better.
Which obviously takes the stress off the teachers and allows them to thrive themselves in the classroom. Question up the back. If Mr. Gordon can do his genius work with the microphone, thank you.
Hello, thank you very much. Very nice discussion today. And I have one small question. Actually, that when we are talking about the new technologies,
We can hardly hear you.
Yeah, just bring your microphone closer.
actually when we are talking about the new technologies, and we've seen that there's so many bring your own device already implemented in all these schools. How the kids' eyes and there's some effects are there, right? LED in this team. So all the time you consider that the school is considering only in the technology side and the screen time will be too much for the kids.
So the concern is what, the eyesight, and looking at screens the whole time? And BYOD, is that
any of the things that is considering that how we can be better the kids?
Is that sort of an OHS issue for teachers or students that we're constantly looking at screens, or is that not?
Well, Well, we monitor screen time, and that's why, like I said, we don't completely eliminate it from all lessons, but we have a station, so when they are rotating, there's a station focused just on technology. And then you mentioned it earlier, sometimes it's not everybody's individually on their laptop or iPad. It might be where they're doing group work, but they have one iPad out, and that's kind of how they're achieving their learning objective.
Yeah, I think teachers are very they know that has been not a complaint but a concern from parents, and I think they get that a lot. I get that a lot from parents about how much, as I say, percentage of time, not the percentage, but we're saying that's an enhancement tool only. But it's a good question. When they have the iPads in the classroom, we should have more of those protective screens.
Or the blue light glasses, blue lens glasses.
That is something we need to consider maybe in the future. You don't know whether as again, it's a development. I'm not saying we're ruling it out, and I can see maybe schools in the future will have that.
Majid, you seem frustrated?
No, because those were 20 years back.
Okay.
Right now, whatever screens we have is protected.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
We're all here as adults, we are on the screen 24/7.
Constantly, we're always looking at our phones.
Almost all are using the reading glasses.
What about the situation? How specifically is technology changing? And we did touch on this with a few apps. But at your schools, how is technology changing the assessments and the exams to make it easier for teachers rather than students? How is technology helping teachers?
Well, one of the nice things is it's adaptive. Whether we're doing common assessments or it's external assessment, and even Arabic IBT now moving forward. And what it means by adaptive is if there's a question for a student and he gets it right, it goes on to the next level, a harder level. If he gets it wrong, it goes back. So the questions are automatically differentiated.
A lot of the tests now are all online. We have, our NGRT test 3 times a year, that's online. Our end of year assessments are also online for GL. And on CAT 4, so most of the assessments are all going to be online. And then you have the question of, are we putting a lot of focus on writing when we don't need to? And that's another question I would have. And I was just speaking to my son today about this, and he said he's actually going towards the GCSEs. So he said, well, GCSEs are still in written form. So is that going to change in the future? I don't know. But at the moment, all the primary assessments seem to be all online. We're going from IGCSE to A-level, that's still...
Is it actually proving a challenge to some students to suddenly have to get back into the craft of writing?
Definitely.
Yeah, because even I can see from personal experience, and it sounds funny, every Christmas when I get a Christmas card, I can tell who has gone to school where they used to have to write every day, because we are suffering a little bit in the quality of our handwriting. Does that affect teachers when it comes to exams, when you're looking at handwriting, or is that a bit too simple?
Particularly the American curriculum, like the PSATs and SATs, are all online. So it's different than A-levels and IGCSEs. So that has
I think that's simple, like 56-year-olds. I'm thinking that's the way forward for American. I can see that British curriculum with the
Before it wasn't. They used to send you boxes with a lock code. They send you boxes. Now it's changed.
Sanji,
AP classes, AP exams are still written exams.
any last questions before we finish things up? Because I want to finish on with the three of you. Which piece of technology going forward do you think is going to be the most influential when it comes to teaching?
ChatGPT.
It is ChatGPT. That we look 10 years down the track. What do you think, Majid? What do you tend to think? Which piece of technology is going to be the most influential in teaching?
AI in general. It's definitely AI in
And
general.
that's going to develop so much more than just ChatGPT. There's so much more that's going to take over with that. And we have to embrace it, we have to use it and take it forward even further, because it's a game changer already.
I have a different theory. I think that school, the way we see it nowadays, may not be there in the future. And students won't have self-paced schooling with the usage of technology or AI.
They're all possibilities. Is that because more and more, with the evolving nature of industries and technology in those industries, it's the softer schools that make you more employable? Is that part of where you're coming from? That what we need in the workforce are lifelong learners and people that are willing to adapt?
Look, I always tell the parents, you're sending your kids to school not to get the knowledge, but to socially interact with people. So getting the knowledge, they can get the knowledge anywhere. They can stay at home and be homeschooled and get the knowledge.
You see, I was homeschooled.
Yes.
I was homeschooled from the age of, year 7 in Australia, that's first year high school, of 14, and I did go back. And I learned so many other life lessons. What I didn't learn, and I noticed this when I started to, because I was ill when I was 18 or 19, I hadn't learned how to kind of stick up for yourself in the lunch area. And so really, and that goes exactly back to what it takes you, is that when you get out there and you go, I did learn that lesson of when someone took my lunch money to find a bigger kid to get my lunch money back, right, to be simplistic. And so I think that really does key the idea of socialising and teamwork and work with people who may not like you and trying to thrive in those situations.
And I completely agree with you. I think it's not necessarily knowledge, because you can get that off of Google, but it's developing that skill to be able to go research and find it. And, so you're right.
Any last questions from anyone before we wrap things up, because this has been a good session? No? Well, we thank you very much to our panellists. Give them a round of applause, please. That's been great. Dr. Gilhan Crumley, the Principal of Unite Schools, Majid Hussain, the Principal of the American School of Creative Sciences, and Jasmine Payne, the Principal of the Glendale International School. Thank you very much. We're back here at 3 o'clock with the next session, choosing the right school for your child from kindy to year 12, next here at Gulf News Edufair. Thank you very much.